You are listening to Power Marketing with Kevin Lee. Here's Kevin.
Are you finding that either in your consulting practice or just from having spoken to folks who purchased the book that they wait till it hits the fan to buy the book, and they're sort of in an emergency mode when they're reading through it and implementing it? Or are some of them actually visionary enough to sort of see that they'll need it and they're getting an advance education?
It's actually something else. It's a third situation. When you're growing a company, the first million, right, is you and force of will and a bit of chutzpah and a bit of salespersonship and getting your mates around you, and you'll muck in, and there are 12 of you, and it's fab. And if there's a big pitch, then you'll all work overnight and beers and pizzas, and it's great fun, right? The first million is just huge fun. Then you get to this point where you say, okay, well, we figured out that we can sell this stuff. How do we now scale? How do we grow this from 1 million to 2 million? And what happens then is you suddenly realize that you need somebody who's got a bit of experience in the room. So you probably need to go out and find an expensive head of client services or account management, right? And a head of production, perhaps, or a process and operations person. And that's quite difficult, because then suddenly you're having to afford commercial salaries rather than startup salaries. And so that's quite a wrench. And then that period from 1 million to 2 million, you find your feet. You've got this new expertise. You're starting to become more process oriented, and you suddenly start expanding quite quickly. And then what happens is you perfect all of these processes, and then you stall again at a couple of million, usually about 24 people. And that's the point where it gets really, really frustrating. Up until now, you've been able to invent it all, and you've been able to do it all through common sense. Yeah, and you've kind of said, okay, well, all right, I need to bite the bullet. I need somebody who's a pro in this, because we've all been doing it just because we're all capable of doing quite a lot of things. But now we need somebody who's actually an expert. Now you're at 2 million. You've got 20 odd people, 24 people. Clients becoming demanding, and you get frustrated because you don't know how to break out of that space of the 1 million to 2 million space. And you're getting better and better at delivering in that space. And so nobody wants to change anything, right? Because why would you change a process that works? And yet, if you want to get 4 or 5 million, you've got to change everything. Yeah, your client who is paying you $250,000 now, that you want to be paying you $500,000 next. Actually, a $500,000 project is massively different to a $250,000 project. Different kind of management, different teaching, different different types of contract, even different deliverables, KPIs, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to have to change loads of things about the way that you work. And the problem with that is everybody's resisting the change. So the book outlines, in fact, it details, it gives you a manual for how do you build a small internal team to design the next phase of your business, and how do you motivate them such that they will drag everybody else along with them and you as you transform the business. And one of the fantastic things, one of the reasons I love delivering the program, is because the owner at that point suddenly feels like they're being liberated from being the bottleneck, because they've got a team of people around them. So to go back to your original question, which is, are people doing it because there's a burning platform, or are people doing it because they're visionary? No, most of the people who come to us are doing it because they're frustrated. They've been stuck for a couple of years and they just don't know what the answer is. And we know the answer. And the book tells you the answer. And then 2Y3X, which is the consulting practice, we deliver the answer as a kind of, it's scale at speed, but done for you. So it is. I find it really interesting, because the other consequence of it is that we're making owners and entrepreneurs really happy just by taking away that frustration and saying, it's okay, there is an answer, here it is.
Kevin Lee's Power Marketing is available on all your favorite podcast networks. Kevin loves helping businesses excel at marketing. Having marketing challenges? Just like Santa in the Miracle on 34th Street, if Kevin can't help you, he'll know someone who can. Find him on LinkedIn, subscribe, or follow.